go live and talk about that first. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Bevo here. Thanks for coming on as a guest first and foremost. Sorry for going live a bit late. My PC decided I didn't ask you that.
It was good, mate. It was good. Nice one. Yeah, nice to be on.
Anyhow, I just saw. I told this to Bevo as well off screen. I just saw that Lyon has been relegated, and that's the first thing I want to talk about because, in my opinion, it's so stupid. Like, a club has financial issues, and your solution is to relegate them, take away most of their financial resources, take them out of Europe, which is going to get even less money for them. That's dumb, isn't it? That's just dumb.
Yeah.
Anyhow, by the way, where's Ba going? Juma Ba, he's going to Nice now, who's playing Champions League qualifiers, I saw, which I'd prefer. I think Juma Ba needs to get some Champions League minutes in him before he comes to City, if he comes to City at all.
Yeah, with Juma Ba, I'm not too fussed. He's still quite young, so he's still got like plenty of potential. He's had a good season last season at half season at Lens, however you say it. His ceiling could be really, really big. But with these young players, I don't want to put too much pressure on him. I want him to just develop naturally, and if it works, then great, and if not, then I mean, how much did we buy Juma Ba for? Was it free?
I think it was 15 million or something like that.
I thought I heard it was something like 6 million, but it wasn't to go to the club. It went to him.
No. It was like sell-on clause from the original club in Africa.
Right. Okay. Because there was some spat about that, wasn't there? Because didn't he pay off like some fee that he wanted the club to pay for? And
because the club originally he was playing at Valladolid, and Valladolid was above relegation in January, mainly because Juma Ba was carrying them all season, and Valladolid didn't want Ba to go, because if Ba went, they were pretty much getting relegated, which ended up happening. So they really didn't want to sell him, but Ba put in his own money because he wanted to go. I'm very fussed about Ba because I watched him. I watched him on his Valladolid debut, and I watched a few other games. I also watched him for Sierra Leone against Egypt, against Salah, against Marmoush, both of them. Marmoush plays on the left wing for Egypt. He doesn't play striker there. So Marmoush, he was going down the left wing. Salah was going down the right wing. And the defense of Sierra Leone was a mess. But Juma Ba would just run from one side to the other. And he was incredible that game. Juma Ba, I think he's an incredible player. Not even potential-wise, just from what I've seen already at Sierra Leone. One game, but still one game. The few games I've watched of him at Valladolid, I think he's a proper, strong, smart defender as well. That's something important. I like smart players who have the intelligence to get in the correct positions and not make dumb mistakes as Akanji may do.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Have you watched Juma Ba? I'll ask that.
Yeah. I've seen him a couple of times. I can't say I've seen too much of him. Mm-hmm. I made a point of going and watching a little bit of him when he signed for Lens, because obviously, he was technically our player then. But I can't say I've seen too much. And then he was at the Etihad last week, I think it was.
Yeah.
He put some pictures up. There was talk of him going to Southampton. Personally, out of Nice and Southampton, I would have preferred him to go to Southampton, just because I kind of feel like it's a bit closer to like Premier League standard. I feel like Ligue 1 is quite far away from Premier League standard.
Don't you think though? Don't you think that League 1 teams are better than teams in Championship?
Yeah, no, I do, but I just feel like he's done half a season in Liga, and he's done a season in La Liga. Like English football is like very, very different to French football and Spanish football. It's a much tougher, faster paced game. So I just kind of feel like if he was going to progress into City's team like next season, not like the season coming, but the one after, I feel like some English football experience would probably be worthwhile. So Southampton for me would have been the perfect place for him, because you can almost guarantee that next season Southampton get promoted again. Like, they're going to be one of these bungee teams. They'll go up and down for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like if he was to have a year at Southampton, get them promoted, then maybe one more year in the Premier League, we can kind of gauge where he's at. I don't feel like French football is going to really do him much justice. But his decision. So
French football, for me, the problem with French football is it's way too technical. Like in La Liga, you have technical footballers, you've got physical footballers, you've got slower footballers who may be more passers. You've got a wide variety of footballers. And in the Premier League, you've got that as well, although it's a bit more skewed to physicality. In Ligue 1, I feel like it's way too focused on technicality. There's not that many good passers in the league. There's not that many physically great players. There's some physically strong players, but outside of PSG, not that many. And Ligue 1, I think, is a very imbalanced league. It's very skewed towards one skill set. And as a defender, you need to come up against players who are of multiple skill sets. So let's say Juma is playing for Man City. He's going to be running up against players like Isak. Isak is a very different striker from Wissal and Mbeumo. So he's going to face very different styles of football. And in Ligue 1, I feel like the style is way too similar. It's like the same thing over and over with every team. It's just technicality, which good to watch, don't get me wrong, but not good for the centre-back's development, which is why I would have preferred Bundesliga, actually, because Bundesliga, defenders don't get a lot of time to make decisions. So if you don't get a lot of time, that's something you have also in Premier League. You have to learn to make your decisions quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And just generally, like the faster paced game, in general, the tougher tackles, like just everything. It would be. I'm not saying that he can't do it, because I think he's got the physicality to do it. The other thing which I found crazy as well, by the way, I kind of feel like he's needed in our team at the moment. Like last season, Ruben Diaz was the second worst centre-back in the league for winning aerial duels.
Yeah.
So, like, having that strong, physical player, tall player in Juma, I just feel like it would be good to bring him into the team and to have that kind of height advantage, because you look at the players that we've got, like you run through the starting 11, like if we're playing Rico Lewis at right back, not tall. not physical, not tall.
Yeah.
Ruben Diaz, physical, but not really that tall. John Stones, a little bit more height, but not massively physical.
Mm-hmm.
Gvardiol, physical, but not really that tall. Ake, physical, but not really that tall. Akanji, tall, a little bit physical. He's probably the best option that we've got aerially.
Yeah.
And then you look at the midfield, Rodri probably on par with Akanji, but then the rest of them, other than Haaland, who's probably the tallest and the most physical,
Rangers is taller than Haaland, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
I think so. He's very tall, Rangers.
Oh, right, okay, that's
He's very good in the air as well. Most of his goals are headers and cutbacks from Rangers.
Yeah, so I just feel like we don't really have much physical presence aerially. Like, You
know what we used to have? We used to have John Stones and Ruben Diaz, and Ruben Diaz had the physicality and Stones had the aerial field down, and that was a very good partnership for that reason. I feel like John Guardiola and Ruben Diaz have looked okay as a partnership because Ruben Diaz would bring the box presence and Guardiola would be a bit more of the base on the counter and stuff. But I don't think they'll actually fare that well if they're being pressed back against our net. Because any cross comes in, and Rodri and Nico Gonzalez or Rangers, whoever is playing, isn't in that box to help. The striker we're playing against is going to get a free header. So we do need a taller centre back, which is why I think we may be playing with a back three. Gusnov, I'm not sure how good he is aerially, but we may have to put a third centre back in there just to get that aerial presence in the box, which I'm not that big of a fan of either.
No, because if you're playing three at the back, you're losing a man going forward.
Not really, because Pep Guardiola plays with a rested defense of 5 players. Anyhow, he has 3 in the back and he's got 2 in front. That's what Zinchenko used to do. Zinchenko used to go infield and then you have a 3 at the back and a double pivot, and then you liberate the defensive midfielder.
If you've got Rodri, we never play a double pivot, because we don't need a second player alongside Rodri.
Yeah, but then John Stones used to push up all the way and become an 8. So it's still at the back.
I get that, but we're not going to have that this season. We might have, Aït-Nouri running the line.
Yeah,
but that's happened last season, and we still got caught out on counter-attacks. I think from what I've seen from Kusanov, his pace to get back is really, really good. I think his tackling ability is brilliant. From what I saw the other night, he looks a little bit nervous sometimes, when he's passing. There was a couple of in the first half, there was a couple of instances where he went to go and play out from the back and misplaced a few fairly simple passes. I feel like he's got a really big ceiling and he's got the package to be a world-class defender. He's got the speed, he's got he's got the power and physicality. He's good at tackling. He's got the perfect package. I just feel like he needs to sort of get rid of these moments, because you can almost guarantee when Kusanov plays, he'll play really, really well for about 75 minutes, 80 minutes. But that at some point during that game, and it's been the same with Guardiola as well, where there's been, you can almost guarantee every game he's going to have at least 1 or 2 bozo moments where it could end up costing us a goal. We've seen it from Guardiola, we've seen it from Nunes, we've seen it from Kovacic. We've seen it from Kusanov, Akanji as well. He's another one that's got bozos in him. We just need to sort of get rid of that out of the game. And if there's a pass on that you think might happen, just don't play it. Play a simple pass. We've got a goalkeeper who's a better passer than most midfielders. So, if you feel like you can't play it forward, pass it back, because I'm pretty sure that Ederson will find someone.
Yeah.
So
know what I think it is? To be fair to Gusnov, Like, you know how when Pep Guardiola first came into the Premier League, everyone had problems with their centre back because they all tried to copy Pep. Everyone had problems with centre backs not being able to play that style because it was Brexit football, as they say. Centre back has the ball, moves it up the pitch. That's what centre backs used to do. I feel like outside of Europe, technically in UEFA, but Kazakhstan is not, Uzbekistan is an Asian team, of course. So outside of Europe, I feel like that style of Pep Guardiola is still not that popular, especially maybe in a place like Uzbekistan, which football is not even the most popular sport there. So they don't have that high level of development and defenders as we do over here. So I'm not sure if Gusnov will ever be able to pick that up as a skill, because you look at the centre backs in the Premier League back in the day, they never picked it up. Coaches had to adapt to the centre back, not the other way around. I think if you don't grow up with it, you just can't do it, because I grew up with at the end of the 4-4-2 era and in the 4-3-3 era. So when I went to play football, it was 4-4-2 and 4-3-3. And you never passed the ball across the face of your own net. Our coaches told us that. You don't pass the ball across the net. You don't do that. You don't pass it across your own box. And you got rinsed if you did it. You don't dribble in your own half, all that type of stuff. So intrinsically, when I see a player pass the ball across the box, I cringe. When I see a player dribbling in the own half, I cringe. I'm like, don't do that. I know that's the modern way of playing football, but mentally I'm still like, don't do that. I think Gusnov is much the same.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if you look at last season when he first joined in January, he had about 10 minutes or 5 minutes at the start of that Chelsea game where he was really poor, like really poor. But he did really, really well to bring himself back into it. Like, especially for his age, like he showed like maturity. Like, he didn't let those moments get the better of him. He could have quite easily, first game in the Premier League up against a really tough opposition. Like, Chelsea are no mugs. Like, I know they're not great at the moment, but they're still capable of winning games. It's his first game in the Premier League, and he comes on, he makes those two massive mistakes, and then he recovered really, really well from it. But for the next 4 or 5 weeks, the all the pundits were just slating him. Like, they were saying, "Oh, he's not that good. He's been really poor. He looks out of his depth." Like, for the run of games that he played, like, he played against Chelsea, he played against Newcastle, he played against Liverpool, he played against Real Madrid. Like, these aren't easy games, and he's very young. Like, people, back on the other side, he can't speak English.
Yeah,
like he couldn't communicate with anyone. I mean, I bet he probably can now, or better than what he did. But like, at the time, he couldn't communicate with anyone. Nobody knew. He didn't know what anyone was saying to him. So he was having to make all of these judgments just based on like what he thought was best.
Instincts.
And instincts, yeah. And for his age, like, that's really, really mature.
Absolutely.
Like, so I feel like he will get better. I think the problem with coming to England, and it's not so bad if you're a foreign player coming to England. It's more sort of English players in the media. The media likes to hype up players like way too much, rather than just letting them like progress naturally and seeing how good they can actually be. You look at how they were with Foden. Like, fair play to Foden. Like, he managed to put that to the side and continue to play good football for years and years and years. But there are so many players in English football where as soon as the media gets their hands on them, like it's either sink or swim. Like you look at like Jack Wilshere and players like that, like had the potential to be really, really good players. And then as soon as the media gets their hands on them, because they're young kids, like they end up falling apart because they have way too much pressure on them rather than just being allowed to play football.
It's what Roberto Carlos said, isn't it? I would rather the Brazilians go to La Liga because the media is not as bad in Spain. A lot of these skits. Why does Dortmund produce such good skits? Because German media only pushes positivity. I think a lot of people don't realize that about German football as opposed to, well, not German football, I guess. German football is not about winning things. Bayern is going to win. Forget about winning trophies. Bayern is going to win them. It's about the culture of the sport. German football is very different. When a kid goes to Dortmund and they play 10 bad passes, the media is not going in on that. Instead, what's going to happen is he's going to make one good pass and the media is going to say, oh, look at this pass this kid made. Meanwhile, in the Premier League, the exact opposite happens. Plays one good pass, the media won't talk about it. Plays one bad pass, you're about to get rinsed. And that's the problem with English media sometimes, I think. And that's why I think a lot of players will avoid the Premier League in the coming years. I mean, a lot of footballers are talking about it. Don't go to the Premier League. Roberto Carlos said it. Ronaldinho as well said it. Like all these Brazilian legends are saying, don't go to the Premier League. What's going to happen? Brazilians are going to stop coming to the Premier League. They're going to know this media is going to rinse us, especially for players that are a bit more flairful. Defenders that like to go in heavy, old school defenders that make heavy challenges, sometimes make a very bad challenge when you do that. Take Sergio Ramos. You're going to go in heavy. Sometimes you're going to go in wrong.
Do you know what, though? That's what I love about Husanov more than anything, is he's just an old school defender. Like, he will get the ball but leave a bit on you. And that's just like, he's made for the Premier League, because that's what English football has always been about.
And that's what it used to be about. So I feel like this is the same thing that Germany experienced with Pep Guardiola. They lost their culture as a footballing nation, and that's why Germany fell off after 2014. And now it's coming back, and that's why Germany as a national team is coming back as well. But I feel like the football culture went a bit in Germany because Pep Guardiola was so successful. And the same happened in the Premier League. Like, the Premier League used to be kick and rush. I mean, not all teams play the same, of course, but the Premier League used to be a lot more kick and rush. Now it's a lot more control.
Yeah.
Which just isn't...
Like a Big Sam type of football.
Yeah.
Like Big Sam Allardyce, just hoof it and run. Like, yeah. But the thing is, you will never find another manager like Pep Guardiola that has the influence globally on football than what he does.
Yeah.
Like, there's no one. There hasn't been anyone in the past, and there won't be anyone in the future.
Yeah, that's debatable, of course.
You might see Cruyff.
Yeah, Johan Cruyff.
But I still don't think that Cruyff had that same impact on football as a whole as what Pep has. To the point now where you haven't just got teams in Germany playing like it. You haven't just got teams in France, teams in La Liga playing like it. You haven't just got teams in the Premier League or the Championship. You've also got grassroots, non-league football teams trying to play the Pep way.
Yeah.
But you never had that with Cruyff. Like, he did have an impact to a point, but he didn't have almost every league throughout football, like, globally, trying to play like Pep.
I didn't grow up during Cruyff era, of course, so I can't say, but my grandpa, who's a very nostalgic person, he thinks Kiefer is better than De Bruyne, so very nostalgic person, but my grandpa always tells me before and after Johan Cruyff was like completely different football, so he always tells me that football completely changed after Johan Cruyff, which Pep did as well. I can't comment. I didn't experience it. I don't know what football's like then.
I get it. I just feel that if you look at football as a whole, like when Pep was in La Liga, they were playing like he got Barcelona playing a certain way.
Yeah.
Since he's left La Liga, you still have teams playing that way. He goes to Germany. He then gets Bayern Munich playing that way. You then have other teams in Germany, and even to this day, trying to play that way. And then, you even come over to the Premier League and you've got teams like last season. You've got teams like Southampton trying to play out from the back, trying to play pet ball.
Which was stupid, by the way.
I mean, it was ridiculous because he didn't have the players to do it. But, like, that just... And I truly, truly believe that when Pep retires completely from football, I think his influence will stay in football. Whereas if you look pre-Pep, like, I don't see... I mean, again, I could be wrong. I don't see the influence of Cruyff still sort of existing in football as much as what like it is now with Pep. But again, that's just my opinion.
I could go back to the invention of 1-3-3, which completely changed football in the 1950s, but I'm not that famous. I didn't experience it, so I can't comment on that, to be honest. By the way, from chat, Lyon got relegated, but what about Man City? Yeah, I saw that. A lot of people crying about Man City. You know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do when we get found not guilty? I'm going to do a stream, and I'm going to call the stream, we cheated and got away with it. That's what I'm going to do. Don't even try to convince rivals we didn't cheat. We cheated in their eyes. Just say, yeah, and we got away with it. Just do that. It will piss them off 10 times more.
I forgot to mention, by the way. So, why? Can you remember why we had our bet on FIFA?
No, I can't.
I can't remember the reason why we said we'd do it, but I mean, I'm still game for it.
Yeah. I can't remember either, to be honest. You just said you would beat me on FIFA. I don't know why we were talking about FIFA. You said you would beat me on FIFA.
I have got no idea.
And I said to want to have a bet on it, and that's where it came from. I can't remember, to be honest.
I'm still game for it. We will make it happen.
We will make it happen. We will be there. What FIFA do I have to buy, by the way? I don't even know the game.
Oh, that's interesting because I don't know whether it's I don't know if it's worth you getting 25 because 26 will be out in September.
We can wait to buy 26, or I can wait to buy 26 cents to do it.
We'll do it. We'll do it when you get 26 then.
Yeah. By then I should have 1,000 subscribers. I mean, I don't know. When does 26 release?
I think it's like normally like end of September.
End September, okay, yeah.
I could be wrong, actually. Let me just double check.
I have not played FIFA since FIFA 18. Except like a few times going at a friend's house, like playing the new FIFA there. But like, bro, I just don't enjoy the game anymore. That's why I stopped buying it.
Okay, so FC 26 is expected to be released Friday, the 26th of September.
Okay, that works. Because university years usually start in like the first week of October.
Yeah.
I like university. You're at home a lot, but you have to study so much when you're at home. Because I never failed a test before I went to university. My first year at university, I failed like 7 out of 8. And then I had to go in the summer to do the other 7. I passed all of them, but like that was like a wake-up call because I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh, no.
University is it's something you have to get used to, especially as someone who just goes through secondary school, not having to study. Like, you can't do that at uni. And like, even if you think you know, you don't actually understand. It's like a difference between knowing and understanding. So it just doesn't quite click. You have to study a bunch when you're in university. Even if you like get the basic concepts, you still have to study because like there's so many exceptions to everything and stuff. Especially when you're studying like something in law, accounting, of course, has to do a lot with law. So of course, there's so many exceptions as well, and you need to know some laws by heart, which is very difficult. And then you need to know the exception for if you're trading with this country or with that country. How does it differ? Which is just a bunch. The one thing, ever since I became an accountant, I've been so cynical about lawmakers. Like, just instead of using this entire sentence of words that I need to use Google Translate for, use normal words.
Yeah.
I've had to learn. I've learned so many words I didn't know before as well, just because of that.
Wow.
Because I don't know. Why are the laws written like that, by the way? Are they meant to confuse you? I don't know. Anyhow, back to football. I think we lose the passion of defending like we used to be more aggressive defensively in the treble. I agree with that in football as a whole. I'm not sure about Man City specifically. Nowadays, our defenders just didn't even try their best. Do you think that? Because I think last season, our problem was more so all the defenders were injured. Like even when they were playing on injuries.
Yeah. I think it definitely didn't help. I think we're in a bit of a weird situation though at the moment where I actually think we've got too many defenders now. I think we've gone from having like none fit and to the point where we were playing like Simpson Pusey at one point. I forget how I was trying to think a minute ago. I can't remember. But when I was on the LB's panel show, I actually put out the question. It was initially to the chat to say, I wonder how many different combinations there's been of defenders over this season just gone. And I'm pretty sure that Danny said there was like 26 different combinations of defenders that we had playing at the back.
I'm counting them right now. I've got 7 right now that I can think of. I'm sure that is right, but I can only think of 7 right now.
He literally went through every single game that we played and wrote down like, okay, that line. He did it throughout the whole stream, just in the background. And I'm pretty sure it was something mad, like 26 or something like that.
That's ridiculous.
Just... Because at one point, don't forget, we had like Simpson Pusey playing with like Ruben Diaz, and then Simpson Pusey was playing with Akanji, and then Akanji was playing with Diaz, then Stones was playing with, and working out all of these different combinations. I swear it was like 26 different combinations.
Stones was fit for 2 days.
and this is the point that I was trying to make. Like up until the last 3, 4 games, 5 games of the season, we didn't have a back four that was used to playing together. And that goes the same with the midfield. Like, we couldn't play last season. We couldn't play that same midfield, every 3 days because, like, they were all, like, in their 30s, that they can't play every 3 days. So we had to keep changing it up. And the same with the defence because the defence was always injured. So, like, we could never build momentum by having the same lineup. Like, now going into this season now, you would expect the lineup to pretty much be the same. And then we rotate on that. So, like, you can almost imagine, like, our front three is probably going to be Mamouche on the left, Haaland in the middle, and Foden on the right. And then maybe just behind, you've got Cherky, Reinders, and Rodri. And then the back four, you're probably looking at, this is based on us not signing anyone else. you'll probably have Nunes, Diaz, Gvardiol, and Ainouri. Like, you can almost guarantee before the game's kicked off what our starting 11 is going to be, or at least close to it. Whereas last season, we just, like, defensively, we didn't know who was going to be playing. In the midfield, we didn't know who was going to be playing. The only guarantee towards the end of this, the only guarantee was pretty much Ederson, if he's fit, is going to be playing.
Again, if he's fit, though. He wasn't all the time.
Yeah, and then Haaland, if he's fit.
And Gvardiol.
And Gvardiol. Like, they were literally like the only three you could probably say from January onwards, like Mamouche. But
yeah,
that they were only the players that you could pretty much say before the team sheet come out. Ederson's going to be in there. Haaland's going to be in there. Mamouche is going to be in there. And Gvardiol's going to be in there. Everyone else, like, it was like, I just don't know. Like, I don't know what midfield we're going to play. I don't know what defense we're going to play. Like, we just didn't know. Whereas, so the other interesting thing which I found today, I think City Extra posted it, was that apparently a lot of the backroom staff didn't speak to the players last season.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which I find really, really weird.
Well, what's his name? Lino. He can't speak English anyhow, so he could only talk to half the team anyways, but it's shocking. Coming back to what you said earlier, though, about, like, playing with the same players, it's not just playing with the... like, you have to rotate. Like, I think you have to rotate because Club Brugge last season, Brandon Mechelen, 32-year-old centre back, he played the most minutes of anyone in Europe, top flight leagues. He played 5,000 plus minutes. He was 32 years old during that season. By the end of the season, he wasn't even running anymore. He was just walking. He didn't bother to run one way or another. You need to rotate.
I'm 32. I feel his pain. I don't even want a job. I don't even want a job most days.
5,000 minutes as a 32-year-old, that's just breaking your body. Yeah. So, Club Brugge would have won the league title if we rotated more. Because the Belgian league is 40 games, and you have the Champions League and stuff. You've got the Belgian Cup, which includes more games than the FA Cup. Belgian teams play more in the Belgian Cup than the Premier League teams in the FA Cup. So, you've got a lot more games in Belgian football, basically. And we played with almost the exact same lineup every game. The players just can't handle it at the end of the season. And it was very obvious to notice. Every time there was an international break, immediately afterwards, we were winning every game because the players were fit again because they got to rest. But then as it went on, the results got worse and worse. And I don't want Man City to do that. But at the same time, you need to build chemistry between players. And that's why you need to form partnerships. When you drop Foden, you can't just drop Foden. You need to drop someone else as well. Because Bernardo Silva needs to have a partnership with someone else. I'm assuming Foden gets dropped for Bernardo. So you get Bernardo in midfield then and Matheus Nunes on right wing. That way you form partnerships. That way players have chemistry with their partner and they can still expect who to play with. And then Foden can have his chemistry with Cherki. Just forming those partnerships all over the pitch, that's important, especially centre-backs. Centre-backs, defending as a whole, that's a team effort. Centre-backs needs to be used to playing with each other. You can't have centre-backs changing every week. You just can't.
No. And you're not building momentum because game on game, like, players get used to playing with each other.
By the way, Bevo, you should be shouting out your podcast right now because you're one away from 1.2K.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, we're one away from 1.2K. So anyone in here who hasn't subscribed, not in my lifetime podcast, go over and give us a subscribe.
Yeah, I just stopped the link there.
Really appreciates it. Thank you. Yeah. Why is Luke in the chat? Is he?
Yeah, Luke is in the chat.
Luke's in the chat.
I mean, Luke, you can drop the link yourself. Why are you making me do this? Yeah, you can put it in yourself. You're the moderator.
Steve's in the chat.
Yeah, a few people are in chat. Alf in a straight jacket. What does that mean? Alf in a straight jacket. Is that supposed to mean something?
I have no idea with Steve.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Anyhow, let's read a question out here that I've had sitting for a little while. We need Rodrygo before the Premier League. I completely disagree, but I've said my opinion on this, so I'll let you go first.
Opinion on what, sorry, mate?
Rodrygo.
What a talent. What a talent. There's two players for me where if you were to say to me you could sign any two players for this City team now, who would you sign? Like, for me, it would definitely be Rodrygo, because I just feel that he has everything that fits the profile of what we need. Because if you look at our wingers going forward, like at the moment, they're very similar, like with the exception of like Bob. And I'm not really counting Grealish in this, because Grealish is basically as good as gone. And I'm not including Foden in it, because Foden technically isn't a winger, he's a 10. So if you look at our wingers, you've got Doku, you've got Savinho, and you've got Bob. And maybe you could chuck Mamouche in there as well. He's a different type of player to what we have. He's more of a Bob type of player, in the sense of, you look at Savio and Doku, they're both very, very direct, like take on the man, and that's pretty much it. But I just feel that, like, with Rodrygo, he's the full package. Like, he's only what, 24, something like
that. I think it's 23. Maybe he turns 24 next season. I think.
That's what I mean. You're looking at a serial winner that's won. How many Champions Leagues has he got? Like 4 Champions Leagues, something like
that. Three.
He's got 3 Champions Leagues. He's got La Liga titles. He's got, he's got everything that we need. He's got Champions League experience, which is a must. I think if we're going to be competing, if we're going to be competing for the Champions League, you need someone with Champions League experience. We've signed Aït-Nouri, who hasn't got Champions League experience, so you need to counterbalance the one. And I don't think Turkey has Champions League experience, does he? I think he's just
got Europa League experience, but it's not the same.
No, I mean, when you look at the fact that Tottenham and United, who were 17th and 16th in the Premier League last season, or whatever they were, 16th and 15th, both made it to the final, it just shows the levels of drop off. So yeah, like the competition's like majorly different. So from that side, he's got everything that we need. Like, for me, the fee, I believe, is around 90 million euros, which I think's about, if my maths is mathing, it's about 78 million pound.
Yeah, it's 82 million pounds, I believe.
82. I mean, still, you look at that, right? 82 million pound for a player who's got 3 Champions Leagues, multiple La Liga titles, has a vast amount of experience playing in these big, high-profile games. And he's still 23, 24 years old. He's got at least 10 years in him, really.
Yeah, but
he's got about 8 years at the top level. But, like, still, for 80 million quid, why wouldn't you do it? Like,
but the reason I wouldn't do it, because I personally don't want Rodrygo, actually, because it's about balance. Like, when you build a team, like what Real Madrid did, is we'll take Vinicius, we'll take Jude, we'll take Mbappe, we'll take Rodrygo, we'll take all the big boys, but we won't have any balance. And that's a problem they got there. If we go get Rodrygo, I mean, sure, great player. You put him on the left wing, he'll be great. What happens to Marmoush?
You can play him on the left. You can play him on the right. You can play him as a 10. You
Yeah,
can play
but he
him.
wants to play on the left.
I mean, he can say that he wants to play wherever he wants, but at the end of the day, if we require him to play on the right sometimes, or we require him to play as a 10 sometimes, then I'm sorry, mate, but if you want to actually play football games rather than sitting on the bench, then you're going to have to be a versatile player. So, I mean, there's only maybe a handful of clubs that can probably afford to buy you for a start. That secondly, that you would actually want to go to, because you want to go to a team that's competing at Champions League level, winning trophies year in, year out. Let's be real, you're not getting that at Arsenal at the moment. Like, Arsenal don't win nothing. So, I mean, granted, with his influence, will they win things?
They still wouldn't, because they've got Arteta.
I think they might win something, but then the competition that Arsenal have is Liverpool and City. Now, can Liverpool realistically afford him? I don't think that they can.
Not after buying words.
Not after buying the players that not after buying the players that they have. Because not only did they get Wirtz, they've also got Kirkes that was 40 million quid. They've also got Frimpong that was 40 million quid. That's 80 million on 2 players plus 120 million pound. And on top of that, they're also looking at a striker. So Darwin Núñez is looking to be on his way out. So they're going to need an out and out 9. So you look at it realistically. Can Liverpool afford him? No. Can Arsenal afford him? Yeah, probably. But is he going to want to go to Arsenal because there's not really much competition there? Granted, if he does go to Arsenal, he's guaranteed to only play on the left because they're not dropping Saka to play him on the right.
Yeah.
So Arsenal is probably another fit for him. After that, you've got PSG. Is he going to be playing ahead of Kvaratskhelia? Probably not. Because
is he going to play ahead of Marmoush?
The thing with Marmoush is Marmoush, you can play him as a 10. You can play him as a 9.
Yes.
Don't forget, we're not going to be spamming out Haaland for every game next season.
Hopefully not.
No, we won't. We won't. Next season is going to be rotation.
So, how many games will Haaland be rested in the Premier League? And just the Premier League?
Just in the Premier League, I think you could probably expect Haaland to play 70% of the games.
70%. Okay, so we're talking about 28 games.
Yeah.
So you've got 10 games for Marmoush to start as a striker. First of all, Haaland has never played less than 30 games in a full season, bar injury seasons. So is he going to take that? Maybe yes. Maybe he's going to say, I need this for my body. But he's your top earner. He's the guy you're building around. He's the future captain. I mean, we're giving Haaland all the keys. Is Haaland going to say, yeah, I'll do 10 games on the bench?
I don't think it's a case of like he's going to definitely be dropped. I think you look at the fixture list and the schedule, like especially going into next season.
Yeah,
I think it was quite telling on a lot of players last year. Like Haaland did miss like a good number of games last season.
Yeah, but that's because he got injured.
Yeah, but year on year, he's always getting injured. He's always had that problem with his foot. Like that problem with his foot, like just he seems to have it. He had it back at Dortmund. He even had it in the treble season. He had it in the year before Pete. You know, he even had it last year. Like he's notoriously had this problem with his foot. And I mean, it's not even just like the problem with his foot. When you've got two or three defenders on you for pretty much most of the game, stamping on your feet, you know, getting little digs at you in your back, like, because this is literally what's happening game after game after game with him. You know, people are trying to injure him. People are trying to like leave a bit on him so he doesn't like bag a hattie against them. Like, so naturally he is going to miss games. You know, if we're playing, and this isn't anything against Haaland, if we're playing like, I'm just going to throw a team out there, Sunderland. You know, if we're playing Sunderland and then on the Saturday and then on Tuesday night we're playing against Barcelona, Erling Haaland ain't playing against Sunderland.
Yeah,
like, there's no way. So, but then, you know, if Haaland misses 10 games in the Prem next season, which it probably will happen, let's be real. Especially if he picks up a knock, you know, we're not gonna want to risk him if we don't have to risk him. Like in the past, we might have had to have risked him some games because we didn't have anyone else that could play as a striker.
Well, now that's true. We had Alvarez, and in treble season he played 35 games. The fourth season he played 31.
Yeah, but what I'm not talking about. Then I'm talking about specifically last season up until January. We didn't have. So there was games last season where Haaland didn't. He felt like he could have been benched or should have probably been benched, or at least given some time off because, you know, he didn't look right. But we had to play him because we didn't have any other options. Like we didn't even have anyone really that could play a false nine because, you know, naturally we played Kev there at one point. Like we played Kev at the false nine. Like that just didn't work, especially when he's your only creative outlet, playing as the furthest forward player. Like it just didn't work. So having the ability to play Mamouche there when Haaland's injured or Haaland needs a rest, fantastic. He can play as a striker.
But can't we already do that?
Yeah, no, we can do that. But what I'm saying, like the whole purpose of this is, you said, well, you know, if we bring in Rodrygo, well, where's Mamouche going to play? Well, Mamouche has the options to play as a 10. He has the options to play on the left. He also has the options to play as a striker. You know, is Cherki going to play every game? No. You know, is Reinders going to play every game? No. You know, is Rodrygo going to play every game? No. Is Haaland going to play every game? No. So Mamouche will get plenty of minutes. Like there's no doubt about it. He will get a lot of minutes. But so will Haaland. So will Rodrygo. So if we get him, you know, so will you know, Reinders, so will Cherki. All of these players will get a lot of minutes.
So whose minutes are you sacrificing to get those minutes? Because you need to sacrifice someone's minutes.
Well, it just naturally will happen with rotation. You know, if Cherki's played 5 or 6 games and he looks knackered, then he'll play Mamouche as a 10. You know, if Haaland's played 10, 12 games and needs a bit of a rest, then he'll play him there. Like, and you know, he might not start every game, but there are also going to be other players that don't start every game. You look at it realistically, right? We've got Cherki, we've got Foden, we've got Mamouche, we've got Haaland, we've got Reinders, we've got
Nico Gonzalez.
We've got Doku. I'm just going like the front players.
Okay.
We've got Doku, we've got Savinho, we've got Bob, we've got Echeverry. Like, I've just named 9 players there to play 3 positions.
Are you including Haaland in that?
Yeah, I've said Haaland.
But Haaland is exclusively playing striker.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you've got Haaland, you've got Mamouche,
You've got the lists.
If we've got Rodrygo, we've got Rodrygo as well. But I'm not going to include Rodrygo in this list because, I mean, we haven't got him. So
Yeah.
Haaland, Mamouche, Doku, Savinho, Bob, Foden, Echeverry, Cherky, and I've missed someone. Technically Grealish.
no, don't include Grealish. Don't do that. I think you forgot Bob.
There you go, Bob. So that's 9 players that are playing just 3 positions. You cannot physically play 9 players. Like, so you say like, oh well, where's he going to play? Well, Foden's going to have to sit on the bench sometimes. Mamouche is going to have to sit on the bench sometimes. So's Church. So's Haaland. Like, everyone is going to have to sit on the bench, whether they like it or not. We've got so many games coming up next year, and people are going to have to be sitting on the bench, whether they want to or not. Like
Calvin Phillips.
Don't. Like, naturally, you've got 9 quality players there. You can only play 3, maybe 4 if you chuck one of them into a 10 position. That's still leaving 5 players that you can't play. Like, so there is going to be changes. There is going to be rotation. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Rodri, most of the games Rodri plays next season, if he only plays 50 minutes, 60 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't see Rodri playing a full 90 for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, I can imagine. So maybe the big games he might, but other than that, probably not. But the problem is you've already got so many players in there, and Rodrygo, and Savio, and Doku, and Bob, the entire list. You've already got so many players there. Now you add Rodrygo, and you've got another player to rotate to it, and that's going to take away maybe just a few minutes from everyone, but everyone's going to have a few less minutes.
Yeah, you're right. But I personally don't think that Bob is. I don't think that Bob is worthy. Is the wrong word, because he is worthy of it. Like, I don't think Bob is going to naturally get many minutes next season. He's just recovered from a big injury. He's already down the packing list anyway. As good as he is, like, I think Bob next season will be like what you saw McAtee this season. So coming on for 5-10 minutes at the end of games, or like playing FA Cups or Carabao Cups, or he'll naturally just play those kind of games.
The problem I have with that is Pep trusts Bob a lot more than he trusts McAtee. He threw Bob on in a big game in a final, not in a final, in against Aston Villa when we were losing.
Yeah. And you look at other players, like you look at Doku, just Doku as an example. Doku's into his 3rd season with City now. I don't think he's good enough to be starting games. I think Doku's an impact player. I think that he's someone that you bring on in the 60th, 65th minute, where you've got a tired right back, and then you're chucking on Doku, and to just go and basically cause chaos for 25 minutes. I don't think that Doku is good enough to be a regular starter for us. I also don't think that Savinho is good enough to be a regular starter for us. Now, that's not to say that he can't be, because he's still really, really young. And the same with Doku. Doku's still really, really young. The difference is Savinho's been with us for 1 season, and he's shown some potential. Doku's going into his 3rd season with us and has shown glimpses of potential, but nothing consistent. So if we're wanting to challenge for these big trophies, you need more than a Savinho and a Doku. And I don't think that I don't think Bob is experienced enough to give that yet. you kind of need someone like a Rodrygo to basically be like, I'm your experienced winger now. Like, I don't think that Doku's good enough. I think he can be, but he's got a lot of work to do. I don't think Savinho right now is good enough, but I think he has the potential to be. Again, Savinho's 21, something like that. I think we need someone that is good enough to, if you say, this guy can play every minute of every game, because that's kind of what we need. We need someone that's good enough to do that and be the first starter, like one of the first names on the team sheet. Because winger-wise, I don't think that we have it. We have a lot of potentials, but no one for the here and now. Whereas you look at the midfield, Rodri's for the here and now, Foden's for the here and now, Reinders for the here and now. I'd say Cherky's for the here and now and for the future. Haaland's for the here and now. Winger-wise, like all of those are for the here and now. Like they are good enough to go and win as Champions Leagues. I don't think that Doku and Savinho are good enough to play as a starter, and we're going to get much value out of them.
I agree, but neither will they.
Oh, sorry.
I agree, but they won't be playing that much anyhow. Because you've already got Sherky ahead of them. Now, Oscar Bob, I see a lot of people are talking about Bob's injury in chat. He got a broken bone. Broken bones tend to heal a lot better than muscle injuries. So don't be too worried, I'd say, about that injury. Because, I've broken bones. I don't notice it anymore. They healed and they're better than ever. I've had problems with my knee, muscular problems with my knee. I've got that for the rest of my life. So, like muscle injuries, those injuries can fuck you up. But broken bones usually aren't that bad. So, a broken leg, yeah, it's a big injury, but he's going to come back from it just fine, I think.
I beg to differ on that one. So, a little story for you, for anyone that doesn't know. I used to be a goalkeeper. I was actually like a really, really good goalkeeper as well. And I don't know if you can see, but can you see the little scar?
Yeah, I can. Right on your wrist here.
Yeah. So I broke my scaphoid in goal, and I went to the hospital, got a cast put on it, and then 6-7 weeks later, something like that, the cast was taken off and it healed, or so I thought it had healed. Anyway, I then go and play football. I then go and play football again. I then go and do the same wrist again about 2 months later, something like that. Maybe a little bit longer, actually, maybe about 3 or 4 months later. I then go and do the same wrist again. I go back to the hospital again, obviously to go and have it x-rayed and stuff. And where the bone should have healed like that, the bone had actually healed like that. So what ended up happening was the bone had actually rotten to the point where they had to actually remove the bone and then take bone off my hip and put the bone into my hand. And then they had to put screws and all sorts in it.
Yeah, that's enough of that story. I don't like stories like that.
The problem with it, and this is why I was saying I beg to differ. So with this hand, I can put my hand at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
That's as far as this one goes back.
Mm. Yeah.
So, and that's a broken bone.
Joints tend to be worse. That's why I said usually joints are a lot worse than your shin or something like that. Tends to heal better. Now, you also re-injured your bone immediately afterwards, which, that is a yikes of a story.
It was a good job that I did, though, because if I hadn't, the bone would have just completely worn away.
How does a bone rot if it's in your body, though?
Don't know. I'm no doctor, mate. I'm just telling you what I got told.
That's working. I can't lie. You're going to make me paranoid every time I break a bone. Hopefully I don't break too many bones.
Oh, mate, I broke about. I'm not even joking. I must have broken at least 9 bones.
You know what's funny? I've broken both my pointy fingers, both my little fingers, and both my little toes. And I've not broken any other toe or finger. It's just these ones that seem to get the bad luck.
Oh, I did my thumb, this one, when I was skiing. I broke it and dislocated it both at the same time. So, but I did it skiing in Austria, and they had to pop it back in while it was broken. So now that's why I can like pull my thumb like almost like fully back.
You got a superpower out of it. I heard that dislocated thumbs are not that bad, or is it that they're worse than joints?
I mean, it hurt like hell, but I think that's because it was broken as well. Yeah. So it had completely like snapped across there, but my thumb wasn't here; it was down here.
Ooh.
So they had to like, bear in mind, I can't speak German, like, so they were trying to put it back into place whilst it was broken. And they were like, "Why are you upset?" And I was like, "Why do you think?"
And wie has dein Daumen now? No,
I mean,
no.
There was a lot of shizers, put it that way.
I speak a bit of German. Obviously, I've got some German heritage through my father, so I speak a bit of German, but it's very bad. My pronunciation is terrible as well. I would sell both Doku and Savio from chat. I don't mind selling Doku. But Savio, I want to give one more year because I want to see what he can grow into and stuff. I think he can be a very good bench player, but not starting player.
Who, Savio?
Yeah, Savio.
Yeah, Savio, I don't... I mean, he's had one season. He's had one season. I think he has the potential to have a higher ceiling than Doku, just naturally because he's a little bit less raw. Like, he's got a bit more it's probably the wrong word to say, but it feels like he's got a bit more intelligence in his game than Doku.
No, he does. He absolutely does.
Like, I know that seems a bit harsh to say.
No, it's not, because I'll say it right now, yeah. Processing speed matters. Doku is able to move fast, but not able to process fast, and it matters. And there's a reason why autistic people struggle in football. Like, that's not offensive to say, it's factual. And there's special exercises that they used to make me do to process things faster, because I had the best technical ability of anyone on the pitch, but I couldn't process as fast as other people. So they needed me to do special exercises so I could keep up. It matters, and Doku doesn't have that at the highest level. He has it at one level below the highest level, but not at the highest level.
Yeah. So I just feel that the thing is, they both offer almost the same thing. Like, the only thing that Doku, I'd say, has over Savinho is Doku has chaos, whereas Savinho's more like controlled. And I see Doku as an impact player, but I don't see him as someone that you could rely on to start games, because I don't think that he's good enough to. Savio, I kind of see the same thing in him, I think, but if Savio could improve his shooting, I think you're looking at a total different kind of player. I just don't think what he does in the final third is good enough. I also think he's been played out of position. I feel like Savio should be playing on the left, not on the right. But if you're playing Savio on the left, you can't play Mamouche on the right.
But you know why Savio plays on the left?
Because he's left-footed.
Yeah, but Pep Guardiola wants him to invert, so he plays him on the right.
Yeah, but he's not good enough at shooting.
Yeah, but that's what Pep wants, because he wants Guardiola to push up.
The thing is...
Now it's going to be ignored.
Yeah, the thing is, you can only play an inverted winger if they are capable of shooting and scoring goals.
Yeah, I agree. But Pep Guardiola is very stubborn sometimes.
Yeah, and that's why Foden worked on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Because Foden has the ability to get goals. Whereas, like, if you were to say to me, do you want to play Foden in the 10 or do you want to play Foden on the wing, on the right wing? For me, I don't really think it matters because I think you're probably going to get the same levels of output from him in both positions.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Mamouche, I don't think you can get any output from Mamouche on the right. You know, he can't. He's good at set pieces, but he can't cross the ball. Like that's not part of his game.
Yeah.
The only place you can play Mamouche is either on the left or in the middle. Like with Foden, you can only play Foden on the right or in the middle. Like you can't really play Foden off the left. I don't feel like Doku. You can play off the right, but I don't think that he's going to offer much playing off the right. He needs to be playing off the left. Like it's just I don't see like I see players that are capable of doing a job but not capable of starting games where like we need to win. Like if we're going to the Bernabeu or if we're going to the Nou Camp or if we're going to the Allianz, I would not want to be playing Savio and Doku. Like simple.
Can you imagine that? Oh my god. That takes 20 chances, especially big moments.
Oh, they would.
By the way, how do you respond to allegations from Steve Black, of course, who else? Bevo did his wrist during other activities.
Doing what activities?
I suppose you'd have to ask Steve that. How do you respond to those allegations?
I mean, I think sometimes it's just better off not talking.
I really prefer not to speak.
If I speak, I am in big trouble.
Anyhow, let me ask you this. If you had a choice between Livramento right now or Rodrygo, you can only have one. Who do you pick? Who is your priority?
It's different players for different reasons.
But what does Man City need most right now?
Rodrygo.
You think we need Rodrygo most?
It's a difficult one because I think we need a winger more than a good winger. I think we need a good winger more than we do a right back, but we need homegrown more than we need foreign.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it's really, really difficult. I think I'm going to be honest. I think you could quite comfortably play Husanov at right back, like comfortably playing at right back. I don't think Pep will, but I know that
Kanji right back incoming.
With Husanov's recovery pace and his strength and physicality, I think you've got a real baller at right back there. I really, really do. He had Vinicius Junior on lock when he played right back against Real Madrid, and then he never played right back again. I think you've got a very, very, very talented right back there. I think you've also got a Kanji that can play right back. You've also got Nunes who can play right back. I'm not saying that Nunes is a great right back, but towards the end of last season, he was definitely an improvement on what he was at the start. I just feel that we need a winger more than a right back. And I know that's going to sound mad, but I just feel that, like, if you look at the majority of teams that we
What
play,
about Marcus Rashford?
no,
No winger.
no chance. If you look at like most teams that we play, like they probably get maybe 5 chances a game, 6 chances a game if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And this is the whole thing that I was saying about Edison not needing to be a great shot stopper. Like he probably has in a game maybe 4 shots on him if you're lucky. And that goes the same with the defense. I feel like there's maybe 4, 5 clear chances in a game for the opposition team. Most of the time, we've got the ball going up the other end of the pitch. So I feel like we need a really good winger more than bringing in a defender for the sake of 5 chances a game. I feel like defensively, Husanov can deal with whatever over those 5 chances. Maybe not all of them, but I feel like he's got enough in the locker to deal playing at right back most games. And then if not, you've also got Akanji that can play there. And if not, you've also got Nunes that can play there. And if not, you've also got Rico Lewis that can play there. So we've got 4 players that we can play as right back. And the other thing is now that we've got Aït-Nouri that's going to be bombing forward.
Yeah.
You also need a defender that on the right that isn't going to be bombing forward. So realistically, you can play a centre back there because you need to keep the 3 at the back. You're not going to send the left back bombing forward and the right back bombing forward at the same time.
No, you're not.
So I kind of feel like you can play Akanji or Kusanov there and you're going to get results.
Yes.
So for me,
but I think when it comes to big games, big moments, like football likes to be overcomplicated sometimes by managers. Pep Guardiola, especially in finals. But football is overcomplicated sometimes. I feel like in the big games, it's the simple things that matter. A goalkeeper who stops a shot, that's what matters in the Champions League final. That's what won us the Champions League final, because Ederson made some incredible stops that final. We had no right to win it. Striker who just scores a goal. Winger who just makes a good cross. Players playing international positions. I think those things, those simple things, are what make the difference in a big game, in a title-winning game, in a Champions League-winning game. I think that's what makes a difference in those games. I feel like that's why you need a right back, a natural right back, because in the treble season, Aki, I think, is better as a left back than as a centre back. In fact, I think Aki is Man City's best ever left back. I think he was in the treble season. I think he was that good in the treble season. I think he's a better left back than he's a centre back. So I think that's why it worked. Akanji in the Champions League final almost cost us the final because he wasn't a natural right back. And I feel like that's the moments, those simple moments, where it really matters. That's why I want a shot-stopping goalkeeper who's consistently a shot-stopping goalkeeper. Ederson has had some good seasons shot-stopping-wise, but not consistently. Consistently, he's not been consistent in that and shot-stopping. So that's why I think you need to get a right back first, who's just a right back. Marmoush has played almost his entire Egypt career on the wing anyhow. So I'm a bit more comfortable with that. And I think Marmoush going as an inverted forward works just fine too. My biggest worry is you get Rodrygo and yeah.
I'm not against any of that, by the way. I kind of just wanted to play the devil's advocate a little bit because, like, the amount of people that say that we need a right back, and I agree, we really, really need a right back. But I wanted to take a little bit of a different approach on it. And now that we've got Aït-Nouri, we're going to have to keep 3 at the back.
Yes.
So you can play a Husanov or an Akanji there, and you know that 1v1 defending, they're going to do the job. If you look at Gvardiol last season, Gvardiol last season was better at going forward than he was at defending. But that's because 9 times out of 10, he was doing the Aït-Nouri kind of role where he was bombing forward, but then if we ended up losing the ball, he was having to leg it back to try and make up the fourth man. And by the time he got back, he was knackered. He had to turn and face away and try and defend at the same time. Like, you don't have to do that with Husanov. You don't even have to, if we lose the ball, Aït-Nouri ain't sprinting back to defend because we'll have the 3 defenders. The problem is last season we had Gvardiol doing that on the left, but we also had Nunes doing it on the right. And then what we were doing is we were using our centre as our CDM to drop back into defence to make that third man. I don't think that you're going to see that this season. I think you're going to just literally see Aït-Nouri bombing forward, and then whoever's playing at left centre back, which will be Gvardiol, he'll push more over to the left. Diaz will come more centrally, and then the right back will just stay as right back, whether that be Husanov or... Because then the reason why Ake is so good at left back is because he never used to bomb forward. All that he used to do was 1v1 man on man defending, and he is one of the best in the league at doing it. I don't see many defenders better than Ake at that job. Just basically 1v1 man on man defending. So when you look at it like that, the reason why Ake was so good was because he didn't have to do the double role of like having to run forward and then run back.
Yeah.
So, I just tried to play devil's advocate a little bit and just say,
I think systematic is a lot, of course, because if you look at Pep Guardiola's teams, they've always played with 3 in the back, 2 double pivots in front. And one of the double pivots will be more free to go forwards, and the other one will sit back a bit more, which is why Kovacic worked so well for us in the 4th season, and people didn't give him his credit. But why was Rodri Ballon d'Or winner? Because Kovacic. Because Rodri was liberated by Kovacic being behind him. And Rodri talked about it in pretty much after every game. He was saying after the 2 games, I can do this because I trust Kovacic behind me. That is why Rodri won a Ballon d'Or. When you set up a defense, you want the defense structured in such a way that you're pushing far enough up the pitch to constrict your opponent. You've got enough in midfield to win the ball back immediately. But if everything goes through you, then you've got enough of a defense to go backwards. That's a very difficult defense to set up. Pep Guardiola has always done that in the same way. 3 in the back, 2 in front, or 2 double pivots in front of the back 3. The reason we were terrible last season is because the players who were playing in that double pivot simply weren't made to do that. And sometimes Pep Guardiola would completely sacrifice the double pivot or even play 2 in the back, which 2 in the back is really when we had most issues.
The only reason we've had to play the double pivot, though, was because we were missing Rodri. Like, when Rodri's back, you don't have to sacrifice. The problem with playing a double pivot and playing 2 CDMs at the back is you lose a creative player going forward. Like, you do naturally. Because what you're having to do is you're having to basically sacrifice a creative attacker with someone that is basically there to help out defending. Now, with doing that, when you've got Rodri back in, you can play with an 8 and a 10 and know comfortably that Rodri will sit there and do the job as a 6 and just spray balls because that's what he does best. And, there may be times where if you're playing Nico G and Rodri. You might see Rodri take up the 8 role, and Nico G step back and play as a 6. Because what I noticed, especially in the treble season, was and I suppose a little bit in the 4P as well. Rodri on the attack, like I think it was more in the treble season than in the 4P, but you'd see Gundogan stay back as the 6 and Rodri push forward as the 8. That happened quite a lot. Now I think you might see that again a little bit this season, especially if we can get Rodri back to full fitness playing 90 minutes. I think you're going to see Nico G stay as a 6 and Rodri press as an 8 if we wanted to give Reinders and Cherki a bit of a rest. By the way, Reinders, what an absolute baller he is. I actually think everyone's talking about Cherki being the KDB replacement. Mm-hmm. Reinders is the KDB replacement. Because if you watch the way that he was playing, some of those passes to break the lines was phenomenal. He's clearly a player that's got vision. You had people saying, I think that Reinders is the Gundogan replacement. I don't see it. I see Reinders as more of the Kev replacement because I think.
I'll just say, there is no KDB replacement. It will not exist. I think we're just going to completely change style with KDB.
I think what I mean is by saying that, though, I think like for like, I see more of KDB in Reinders than I do in Cherki.
Yeah, Cherki is a different player.
Yeah,
it's more David Silva, really.
David Silva, Phil Foden, sort of techie ball type of player.
More than us, really.
Yeah, whereas with Reinders, there was in the last game where Reinders was playing as a 6 at some point. Because if you look, when the goal kicks were taken, Reinders was there as the centre-back to pick the ball up, and then he carried the ball past the defence into the midfield. And then he was making those passes to break the lines. I just think I see that more creative side in Reinders than I do in Cherki.
Cherki creates in a different way. I think we need them both. They're both great players, obviously.
And like I was saying, I see Cherki as a sense in the same way that I see Phil. Phil is a very creative player, but he creates for himself. Whereas I see Cherki like that as well. I see Cherki as a very creative player, but he creates for himself. Whereas Reinders, I see Reinders as the kind of player like KDB that will create for others.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm there's nothing against Cherki. I love the guy. I think he's great. I think he's a great addition to the squad for the money that we paid for him. But I think we need to find someone that's going to bring the best out of Haaland. And I think Reinders is more likely to do that than Cherki. I think Cherki will get goals, he'll get assists, but he'll generally try to create for himself. But that's what the best players do. If you're that kind of player, you are greedy. You want to get goals.
Yeah, but I have watched Cherki a bit, not that much, but I've watched him a bit. And I swear, you go through Lyon games right now. I don't care what game you pick. You'll see Cherki put a ball on a plate and Lacazette miss. You'll see that every single game.
You will see that, definitely.
But Cherki is. I think Cherki is creative in 2 ways. I think it's very few players who are able to create for themselves and for others. There's very few players out there like that. David Silva was one of them. He was able to create for himself and for others.
Yeah.
That's why I compared Cherki to David Silva. That's what Cherki can do. He's not going to be a player who's going to give you performances. He's going to pick up the ball, he's going to pass it backwards, or he's going to lose it. But what he'll do is he'll create so many chances, both for himself and for others, which is why I think he's going to be a very frustrating player at times, but he's going to be a player who in the big moments, he's going to get you the goal you need, who in the low blocks, he's going to get you that goal, either by assisting it or by scoring it. His crossing is ridiculous, by the way. Foden does not have crossing like that, and I think Foden makes up for it in the way that he's a lot more agile in midfield and gives a lot more performances than Cherky will. But again, these are all complementary players for me. I don't think you can replace what De Bruyne gave you. So you need to get multiple different players to give different aspects of what De Bruyne did. And that is what I think what these different players do. Rangers doesn't have the crossing of De Bruyne, but Cherky has something close to that, I think. And then Foden doesn't have maybe the midfield presence that De Bruyne did, because De Bruyne was just a presence in that midfield. But then maybe Rangers brings that, but Foden can bring the goals from distance and stuff like that, magical moments sometimes. So I think they all complement each other. But a true De Bruyne replacement, if we're going to talk about that, I think he's a one-of-a-kind player. Messi was a one-of-a-kind, and so was Cristiano Ronaldo, Benzema.
Just a little stat for you on Messi. I've only just found this out as well today, by the way. Did you know in his entire career, he has never not made it past the knockout stages of anything?
Wait,
like, he's never not got to the knockout stages of anything. Like, he's always got past the group stages of everything. Like, every competition. I think it's 33 competitions he's played.
That's ridiculous.
33 competitions that have group stages, and he's never not got past the group stages.
Goats. Bro, growing up on Messi, I am so sorry for anyone who didn't get to grow up with that, or who didn't get to see that. I'm at the age now where I can say that.
I'm quite lucky that I've seen him play in the flesh quite a few times. Like, I've seen him play at the Etihad. I've also seen Barcelona train when I went to the new camp, because Barcelona's training ground, or it was back then when I went to go and do the stadium tour, their training pitch was literally next door to the new camp. And I remember I jumped on a bus to go and do the stadium tour. And after we'd done the stadium tour, we were waiting at the terminal for the bus to pick us up. And there was like a green fence, and I went over to go and watch. And it was when you had Iniesta, Xavi, you had Ronaldinho, you had Messi, you had Eto'o, you had Puyol, you had all these players there. And I can say that I've actually seen them train, and I've also seen Messi play, obviously, at the Etihad when Joe Hart was the best keeper to ever exist.
I saw Messi only once in person, and that was at Jan Breidel, PSG against Club Brugge.
Wow.
And that game was one of the best games from Club Brugge ever, and PSG was so salty after that game. I still remember the PSG fans after that game, because Hans van Aken scored a banger. I feel like every time we play in the Champions League, we play against a big team, we got a result, and the fans are talking about Hans van Aken. Like, who's this random guy? Like, people don't realize Hans van Aken had offers from very big clubs, but rejected them to stay in Belgium for his kids. So Hans van Aken, this is a guy, I genuinely think that he was better than some midfielders that have been at Atletico Madrid at the past few years. He's genuinely one of the best players to ever be in the Belgian league. But he just decided not to leave because he has kids here, and he wanted his kids to grow up in Belgium. So every year in Champions League, there's some club out there, some big club who's salty about Hans van Aken every season, without fail. But yeah, that's the only time I got to see Messi. He was shit. He was shit that game. He was not that great at PSG, was he? Compared to other places he's been at.
Oh, brilliant.
I love that all our title seasons under Pep have a unique name. I mean, yes, Centurions for the middle balls, COVID season, I guess, the Villa season, I don't know, the treble season, and the fourth beat. So the only one that I'm not sure about is 22.
The one before the travel year, I don't think that had a name.
Yeah, the 2022. I mean, we can call it the Villa season.
The Villa season. But
he only played Villa that season.
It's crazy to think that. Do you know what? Right, I'm going to throw something out there.
Or we can call it the Madrid season.
Well, yeah. If you look right at what Pep said in the run up to that Villa game, because I'm pretty sure, like it was 10 years on from 93-20, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When the Villa season, I'm almost certain that you might be able to find it somewhere, but in the press conference before that game, Pep turned around and said something along the lines of, I think we can do something like 93-20, but I think we can do it better. I genuinely believe that Pep wanted to go 2-0 down to come back and win it 3-2 in the year 10 years on from 93-20. Like, the fact that it was 10 years on is coincidental enough as it is. But then for Pep to say before the game, I want to do something like 93-20, but I want to do it better. Honestly, the guy's a madman.
Like, get out with 10 foil hats.
I swear he does this shit for shits and giggles sometimes. You know.
Is that why he got us to be a goal down against Chelsea?
I genuinely believe that he sabotaged us to go 2-0 down just so we could go back and win 3-2. Like, I'm almost certain of it. And I can't prove it, but it's the fact of it was 10 years on and he said what he said before the game, and then we go out and do that. Like, I'm sorry, but there's no coincidence in that.
This is the equivalent of the crazy uncle who tells you about the JFK assassination. Because my grandpa, talking about my grandpa, he still goes on about that. He still says that he was killed by the CIA, and he's not even American. I doubt that. But about that Villa game, yeah? You know what I noticed in that Villa game as well? 2 shots that Ederson should have saved. Or at least one of them should have saved. And they both went in. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, but
no comments.
You could say the same in 93-20, though. Like, you look at that Zabaleta goal. Like, Paddy Kenny should have well saved that.
Yeah, but I don't care about other teams.
Oh, yeah, true.
As long as we win, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I'm telling you now, right? It will, I don't know if I'll ever be able to prove it, but it's the fact that he said before the game, literally, like in the interview, before the players walked out on the pitch, he said, oh, it's 10. It was something along the lines of word for word. It was something like, oh, it's 10 years on from 93-20. I want to do the same, but I want to do it better. Like, he literally said that, and then we go 2-0 down. Like, I'm sorry, but that's not a coincidence. Like, that, Pep's a madman. I honestly think he gets kicks off doing stuff like that. Like, not playing a CDM in the final against Chelsea. Like, he does things. Like, I honestly feel like I think Pep's a bit of a cuck. Like, I think he likes. I think he likes. I think he likes being like the underdog. Like, for whatever reason.
Somebody clipped this up.
No.
You've got 20 people in it. We need this to be clipped up. The ball threat almost made me have a heart attack that day. from Luke. Luke, you're almost 50. You're going to get bald soon too. Clip that, says Luke. Clip that. I'm going to clip this myself tomorrow if nobody's clipped it yet. I need that clip.
I just feel that like he likes to be like in the shit.
BDSM.
Turn it round. Like I don't know what it is. Like I think he thrives off like being in bad situations.
He wants to prove himself sometimes.
I mean, he's the greatest to ever do it. Like, did you see him today?
To ever not do it, apparently. He's a cuck.
Did you see him? Did you see him before do the when they were playing beach volleyball? He was literally coaching. Like, what are you doing, Pat? Just have a day off, mate. Like, enjoy it. Like, have a laugh. Like, you don't have to start doing all this with your hands. Like, you know, like, just chill. You're having a nice, comfortable game of beach volleyball. Just have a pina colada, mate, and enjoy it. Do you know what I mean?
Go sit on the cocktail, all you let it. Oh my god.
I love Pat. I really, really do. He's the greatest ever.
Maybe that explains his divorce. Oh god. Moving on.
Yeah, just move on.
You're lucky Steve isn't here, says Luke. Oh god. Maybe to close off on. Maybe to close off.
Views. It's good news.
Maybe to close off on. So, in the Club World Cup, we're getting some good results right now. I don't know. Did you stay up to watch that game against Al Ain?
I watched the first half and like I just ended up falling asleep. It wasn't because the football was bad. It was because it was like 3:30 in the morning.
You are in your 30s.
And I have a young child that I need to get up for school and do a full day's worth of work. So,
yeah, it was on a Monday, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's I mean, to be honest, I shouldn't have even watched the first half. Like I was the next day. But from what I saw, like I think the real test is against Juve. Like I feel that like with the first two games that we've had, even with our not even B teams but C teams, we should be blowing these teams out of the park. Like we really, really should.
Yeah.
Juve is going to be an interesting one because we've never actually beaten Juve ever.
And we have 1976 UEFA Cup 1-0 at Main Road.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going back that far, like
it counts. It counts.
I mean, I weren't born, mate. I don't care.
now now it matters whether you were born or not.
So basically, what you're saying is we it's nearly been 60 years since we beat them.
We've only played them 7 times in 60 years.
Yeah, I know, but to not beat them in 7 times in 60 years is quite bad.
Yeah, but
like they're not a great team. Like let's be real, they're slightly above average, but they're not a great team. Like if you were to compare them to a team in like the Premier League, I'd probably say they were like Aston Villa. Like
yeah,
maybe even below Aston Villa because I feel like I'd be doing a bit of a disservice to Aston Villa by saying that. But that like maybe like a Brentford or a Brighton. Like I don't think that they're much better than that, to be honest with you.
I would agree. I think they're comfortably like the 6th to 9th spot in the Premier League. I think that's already they're at 6th to 9th. But I think Juve is not what they used to be, obviously. They're struggling. A lot of Italian teams are struggling. Even Inter, they're facing FFP charges now. Cheating bastards. Funny how that goes, isn't it? Because you remember after the treble, the Inter fans would say cheating bastards. Now they're facing the charges.
Do you know what? Like, if you want to talk about City falling off the face of a cliff as quickly as they did, look at Inter. Like, I've never seen a team fall off as fast as Inter. Like,
they fell off in the span of a final.
literally, because let's not forget. Like, they were incredible against Barcelona. Like, they were incredible, and Barcelona were incredible as well. But like, they were incredible against Barca, and then they got to the final, and they were awful. Like, the worst team to ever make it to a final I've ever seen. And then since then, they can't even scrape a win anywhere. Like, they're losing to teams that they should be comfortably beating.
It happened all after the links from Simone Inzaghi to Al Hilal. That's when it collapsed. Because Simone Inzaghi heard Al Hilal money and he was like, fuck this team. Because I mean, some managers are in it for the money. Some of them are in it for the love of the game. And you can tell which one Inzaghi is after that.
I don't even think it was the money for Inzaghi. I feel like he took them as far as he possibly could. Like, I don't think he could have taken like Inter any further than he could. He got them to 2 Champions League finals in 3 years, which is incredible, by the way, because that Inter team is an aging team, and they're not. I'm gonna be honest. That Inter team isn't a great team. Like,
no, it isn't.
They've got like Mkhitaryan and ex-United players in that.
Wow.
Like,
well, ex-United players.
they're not. They've got that other bloke, haven't they? The right back, or is he right
Darmian.
Yeah, Darmian. Like, they've got like ex-United players in there, and who are they're okay players. They've got aging players in there as well. The only real decent players they've got in there is Bastoni, Barella, and I wouldn't even say Lautaro Martinez was that good. I mean, he's all right. He's okay, but
campaign.
Is he in the top 10? Top 10 strikers in the world? No. Like, no. And I just think that he realised that Inter were on a downward spiral from that final onwards, and I just think he's looked at it and gone, "I've got him to 2 Champions League finals in 3 years. I physically can't take this team any further."
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame, I think, because I liked having a team, a different team, be good than Real Madrid every fucking year. How they haunt us. But I liked having a different team than Real Madrid for a little while. That's how Premier League fans must feel about Man City at this point.
Real Madrid aren't even that good, to be honest, anymore.
No, not anymore. They fell off a cliff as well.
Well, like, against Al Hilal were the better team. Like, for that full 90 minutes, Al Hilal were the better team. And then they played that Pikachu team, whatever they're called.
Bashusa.
And they weren't even that good in that game. Yeah, they won, but like, they finished like 16th in the Mexican League. And you had Jude Bellingham giving it the large cups over the years. Like, you're playing against a team that no one's ever heard of. They finished 16th in the Mexican League. They're not that good of a team. And I think they had chances. Look at those chances that Solomon Rondon had. He had at least 2 or 3. Like, if it wasn't for Courtois, they could have lost that game.
They would have lost that game.
Yeah, I don't think that Real Madrid are that good, if I'm being honest with you.
I think Courtois, like this is the thing, yeah. Sometimes I say that Courtois should have won the Ballon d'Or ahead of Benzema. And people are like, oh no, he shouldn't. And I think this is where people don't realize how good Courtois is. Real Madrid have, if you take out Courtois and replace him with any goalkeeper in world football at the time, from the time Courtois arrived, Real Madrid would have not won a single Champions League and would have not won a single La Liga title. Every single Champions League, every single La Liga they've won since Courtois has been there is because Courtois is the best goalkeeper in the world. Take 21-22 when they got past Man City. Don't forget we had like 15 chances in that game that Courtois stopped one way or another. You replace Benzema with anyone, with Lewandowski, you'll score a penalty.
Look at that treble season, right? That treble season where we absolutely smacked them up 4-0 at home. That if Courtois wasn't in goal, that could have been 10 easily. Like
Haaland had 3 shots.
Yeah,
Haaland had 3 shots that nobody other than Courtois was stopping.
No,
like Courtois stopped all 3.
Yeah, and there was more opportunities in that as well.
Yeah,
like way more opportunities in that game. Like if it wasn't for Courtois that game, if they'd have played Lunin that game, like what they did the year before, or was it the year after?
The year after.
Yeah, so if they'd have played Lunin in that game, that would have been 9-0, 8-0. And that and then you're looking at that game differently, going, you know, we're already shell-shocked at how we've just absolutely battered Real Madrid at home. Like, it could have been way worse. Like, way.
Ancelotti would have been sacked on the spot.
Well, at one point, you had Vinicius Jr. standing there going, "I don't know what I'm doing," singing "Oh, Kevin De Bruyne," because I mean, he's literally confirmed that he did that in his Netflix documentary. Like, he literally confirmed in that documentary that when he came to the Etihad, and the atmosphere was so hostile, and when the City fans were singing "Oh, Kevin De Bruyne," he was joining in. Like, he was literally joining in.
Maybe we need to get Vinny instead of Rodrygo.
Even an Ancelotti raised eyebrow couldn't save him that day. Like, and you've got Arsenal saying, you know, you've got Arsenal turning around saying, "Oh, but we smacked up Real Madrid, you know, 4-5-0, whatever it was." Like, that was Real Madrid on a downward spiral. If they'd have played them in that treble season, they would not have come close. That treble, like, I often go back and watch that Real Madrid City game just like to make me feel good, because watching that game, like, I'll be real, I have never seen a team play as good as City did that day, ever, and I don't think I ever will.
You know, what's a game I watched back to make me feel good, and this is going to be a bit random. It's the FA Cup semi-final in 2019 where we played against Brighton. I don't know why, but that game is just what I go back and watch sometimes. I don't know why even. It's just like what I think it's because it's like a game that I watched. So it's a game I watched in a bar with my grandmother. My grandmother died the next year, so because she had cancer. So it's like the last time we watched a game together. So I think that's why I go back to it. But like, that's a game I watch a lot. Not a lot, but I like watch it back every 6 months or something like that. So I've actually not once watched back that Real Madrid game. Now that I think about it, I really should.
You really need to, because I'm telling you something. As soon as you watch that game, like, it will then, I think it'll probably be one of your go-tos, because just like, I mean, I probably watch that game maybe once every 3-4 months, just as like a feel good. I've watched it more this season than I did last season, Like this season, we got spanked 4-0 at home by Tottenham. The first thing that I did was put that Real Madrid game on.
Let's see a 4-0 against a white team.
Like, honestly, like, go back and watch that game, and not just watch it, but like literally pay attention to it. Like every movement from all the players, like every pass. Like, I have never seen a team play as close to perfection as what we did that day.
Didn't Real Madrid have like 9% possession after like 30 minutes?
They made something like 15 passes in the first 15 minutes or something crazy. And we literally made them look like Chesterfield.
And out they are. Losing to Pachuca.
But this was a team that had prime Toni Kroos, that had prime Benzema in it. Like, bearing in mind, when you say, oh, yeah, but it wasn't prime Benzema, he was current Ballon d'Or winner at the time.
Yeah.
He literally was the holder of the Ballon d'Or at the time. So
I don't think Benzema... Did Benzema not touch the ball like 10 times or something ridiculous like that?
It's something crazy. Like, just honestly, mate, just go back and watch it. It is absolute filth. Like, you will never, ever see a team produce that level of football. Like, I don't think ever again. Like that, not just to do it to an opponent like that, but to do it to 14 times Champions League winners.
At the time, 14 times.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean, yeah. 14 time Champions League winners. Bearing in mind, we've just gone and done something similar to Bayern Munich the game before.
You know what I like about that Bayern München game, though? Because Bayern had the majority of possession in the Etihad, but we controlled the game defensively. And, like, I mean, this is my bias as someone who grew up on Michel Preud'homme football. I grew up on defensive football with Michel Preud'homme. That's what I grew up on, so that's why I prefer it. There's no logic to it. So that Bayern München game is one of my favorites ever from Man City, because I've never seen Man City defend as perfectly as that Bayern München game. That was one of the most perfect defensive performances defensively. Yeah. And we won 3-0 that game.
Yeah.
Because we just controlled the game without even touching the ball. And I think that's something so special that so few teams do. Controlling a game without touching the ball. And that is one of my favorite games.
I would love to go back to that. Like, I'm not saying that we don't need to do that in a lot of games, because a lot of games we have possession and we're comfortable with possession. But it would be nice where when we're coming up against a team like Liverpool or a team like Bayern Munich or a team like Barcelona or Real Madrid or, you know, Arsenal, we're not going to have the ball for the majority of the game.
Against Arsenal, we will.
Against Arsenal, we will. Arsenal is probably a really bad choice of team. But against, you know, especially Barcelona and teams like that love possession themselves, PSG, I'd like to be able to see a different side to us, that, like, where we don't need to have the ball, but we still know that defensively we're solid. And I think, to be honest, I think we still are capable of doing that. Our weak point isn't defending. Our weak point is counter-attacks. When we get hit on the counter-attack, that's when there's a problem. If a team has possession over us and we just sit back and defend, I think we're actually quite good. Like, I think we're all right. We can defend really well.
Our problem, though, is it's counter-attack in both ways.
Yeah.
In the treble season, remember the goal against Bayern München at the Allianz? That was a counter-attack. Remember Arsenal at the Etihad from De Bruyne? And both goals actually by De Bruyne. Both assisted by Haaland.
That De Bruyne goal, the one where Haaland tested it down and played it through to De Bruyne, and De Bruyne carried the ball with like 4 defenders on him and then shot it from outside of the box. Like, that was that. I don't think people give that goal enough credit. Like,
you know what?
There's so much to that goal that people don't take into account. Like, De Bruyne knew at that point that his legs were going, and if he'd have carried that ball any further into the box, he probably wouldn't have got the shot off. So the fact that he hit it at the moment that he did, the precision that he did, where he hit it from outside the box into the bottom corner, like, there was just so much about that goal that goes unnoticed. Like, you look at some goals, like you look at Mamouche's goal, right? Mamouche's goal from last season, that won Goal of the Season award.
Yeah.
Like, De Bruyne hit the ball from almost the same kind of range. Maybe it was a little bit closer, but you're talking yards. Like, I don't think that goal got enough credit at all.
I think a lot of the De Bruyne goals don't get a lot of credit. You remember against Bournemouth in the treble season as well? He stepped past 2 defenders and then did a trivela.
Oh yeah, I do. No, I do remember that.
Yeah, I see nobody talk about that. That was like a ridiculous goal.
That was like, I would put that goal on par with something like, do you remember the Ronaldinho goal against Chelsea?
Yeah.
I would put that Kevin De Bruyne goal on par with that, because it was the same kind of action. Yeah, he didn't do the little shovel, shovel left and right, but he still kicked the ball the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just, the one that stands out for me was the goal against, I think it was Swansea. That was one of the best Kevin De Bruyne goals I've ever seen.
I'm not sure which one you're talking about right now.
I'll find it for you and I'll send you a link.
Yeah, I'm not sure what goal you're talking about right now, but I think you know what about the treble season as well. The treble season was so good that it's difficult to remember all the good parts about it, because I mean, in the treble season we got 88 points, I believe. We would have gotten like 95 points if we needed to, because if we were pushed to 95 points, we would have gotten 95 points. In the treble season, I just feel like, even though we were down 8 points, I never was afraid we wouldn't win the title, because there was just an energy about the treble season. Everything felt perfect.
I've just sent it to you on X, by the way.
Yeah, let me open this quickly. But I feel like the treble season just had an energy about it, and I can't explain it. The treble season is one of the most carefree seasons I've ever had as a football fan.
Yeah. I think you're going to get the same this season, because from last season, I don't think there's no expectation on us. There's expectation on us to challenge, but I don't think there's an expectation on us to win this season. So I think you're going to just get pure vibes.
We'll challenge anyhow.
We will. But
our players are too good not to.
Yeah, I think this season you're just going to get pure vibes. You've got Reinders, techie baller. You've got Foden, techie baller, who looks to be back, by the way. He's looked incredible the last 2 games. You've got Cherky, techie baller. Marmouche, techie baller. You've just got a team of just absolute techie ballers that I think are just going to tear it up. And I just can't wait. I just can't wait to watch.
Oh, I didn't know that this one was against Swansea. I just checked out the goal you sent. I didn't know this was against Swansea.
Yeah,
that was a proper banger, wasn't it?
I was there for that game.
Yeah, that was a banger as well. You know what goal I think about sometimes as well? It's one against Chelsea, where he picks it up from the edge of the area, and
where he picks it up and like curl, like he's got Kante behind him running after him.
People tell us Conte is better, by the way, than De Bruyne.
I mean, different positions. I think Kante is an absolute engine. Like, I think he has to go down, in my opinion, in the top, probably in the top 5 CDMs of all time.
Rodri. Busquets, obviously.
Rodri for me is number 1.
Kimmich. Do you put Kimmich above Kante?
I don't.
I actually do.
Because I see Kimmich as a right back, not as a CDM.
Fair enough. So yeah, I guess if you don't include Kimmich, you would put him top 5 as a CDM. Because I was going to say Beckham, not Beckenbauer, Matthaus again. Noted Matthaus. The 1986 World Cup, by the way, for anyone who hasn't watched it.
I agree. I agree.
For anyone who hasn't watched the 1986 World Cup, just talking to Jet now, go watch it. Like, the full games are free on YouTube. FIFA uploaded them. Like, I'm talking FIFA themselves uploaded the full games with English commentary. Go watch that World Cup. There's no World Cup like it. I've watched stuff from the 1958 World Cup, from 2000.
Jesus Christ!
I've
98.
Yeah, I watched the full 1958 final with Pioli. Yeah, with Pioli. I went back, watched the full final on YouTube.
Wow!
It was some Brazilian commentator. I didn't understand a word, but
that's dedication. That
I wanted to watch the final. So there's a reason why I have nerdy knowledge on a lot of football stuff. But yeah, I love watching old games. Like, I watched the 1977 European Cup final as well. Club Brugge lost. But I've watched a lot of old. Yeah, my apologies. Sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, I just wanted to see the football that everyone raved about, and it's.
Do you know what? Right, there's been so many games that City have played over the last 10 years where if you're not a City fan and you're just an average football fan that loves watching good football, like, for example, that Bayern Munich game, that Real Madrid game in the treble season, like, you know, the United game where we beat them 6-3, like, yeah. Even the United game where we beat them 6-1 when we had at Old Trafford, like, there's so many games that you could look at, right, and just appreciate really, really good football. But the problem is because Man City are universally hated, we won't get the same level of appreciation as I think what we should get.
I think we will get that, though. I think that hatred will fade.
I really, really hope so. Because if you're just a football fan, like, rivalries aside, like, if you can just appreciate good football, I don't think you're going to see a better performance from a team than City against Real Madrid in that 4-0 win. I just don't think you'll see it.
If you're going off players, like, not teams, but of players, some Messi and Maradona performances as well, but also the Bruyne performances.
Yeah,
Bruyne has some insane ones.
Yeah, like, if you want to talk about, you know, individual performances, like, the one that sticks out for me was Ronaldinho at the Bernabeu. Like, it's only ever happened once at the Bernabeu where the entire of the Bernabeu got up and gave Ronaldinho a standing ovation because he was that good. Like, that was an individual performance of itself. Just in general, the Messi 91 goals in the calendar season, like, in a calendar year, like, that's disgusting. 91 goals in a year.
That is like, that is not. What is the closest to that? Is it Beckham? Is it what's his name? Müller, 86. Is that its closest?
I think that is the closest.
Like, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. that'll never ever be beaten. Like never.
And he got 30 assists that year as well.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's just 91 goals. That's not even including assists. Like
how do you compare against that, isn't it?
Like the Messi game against Real Madrid as well, where for about 10-15 minutes, every time he got the ball, he was getting elbowed in the face, he was getting hacked down. Like they were just bullying him. And then he basically just, it was the most fuck it, I'm Lionel Messi moment you will ever see. And he just tore them apart. Like, if you want to go of individual performances, like there's loads. I mean, I'm going to throw a wild one out there, like
Calvin Phillips.
Calvin Phillips at centre back. No, I'm going to throw a wild opinion out there, and it's a very, very controversial opinion. But I will stand by it. I don't think Zidane was that good as what people make him out to be. I don't think he was that good. He was good, but he wasn't like that good. Nah, not having it.
I'm waiting for you to justify that.
I just think there are other players in world football that could do everything that he did and more. I think personally, Iniesta was a better centre midfielder than Zidane.
Fair. Anyhow, I do have to go now, though, so I will be wrapping up. So thank you for coming on, Bevo. I always like talking to you. We had a good chat here for 2 hours, and we have ridiculous watch time on this stream. We have an average view duration of like 17 minutes, and that's on a stream that's 2 hours long, so that's ridiculous watch time. So yeah, thank you for everyone watching. Big up to Bevo for coming on. You heard it from Bevo first. Pep Guardiola is a cuck. We will be clipping that one up. We'll see you guys on the next one. And Bevo will not get a chance to defend himself. Subscribe if you haven't already, not just to myself, but to Not in My Lifetime podcast. Before we close off, Bevo.
What do I say to that? See you later, all.